Hello, welcome to this Functional Skills ICT Level 2 tutorial. What we're going to be focusing on today is the and if formulas. I'm going to do it in the context by using an actual mock exam, which you can get from the City and Guilds website. It's a paper-based version, and I'll put the link to this in the video description. So if you want to have a go at it yourself, you can go on and download the relevant files that you need for that from the City and Guilds website. So what we'll be doing to start off with is sort of importing some data. As you can see, we've just got a blank workbook at the minute. So we'll have a look at the question. So you need to prepare some information for this month's online meeting, and you've been given a file that contains data on the group's activities. So I've actually got that on my desktop, monthly summary. So that's the one we're going to be using. Your friend needs you to add some following data. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is to import the data. So if we go on to data tab on the spreadsheet, and you'll see here get external data on this left hand side of the spreadsheet. It's a text file, so we need to click on from text, double click on the summary, and you'll see it's kind of imported it, or it's in the process of doing. This here is exactly as it's written on the text file. Okay, so it looks like it's a little bit of a mess with all these commas and whatever. But if we look at row 3, you've got name, date sold, item sold, price, etc. Now they're the headings for the information that we're importing, and then underneath is all the relevant data that's going to go in those columns. So you'll see there's commas in between each heading. That indicates that it's going to be a new cell, basically, following on from it. And where there's the speech marks and the information inside the speech marks, that's basically just saying that's what's going to be displayed in that cell. So in that cell, it's going to say name. In the next cell here, it's going to say date sold, etc. So if we press next, there's delimiters. So it did say delimiters if we just go back on here. So delimited file type, so characters such as commas or tabs separate each field. We know it's commas, so we'll leave it as delimited. As I've just said, we're on commas, not tabs. So if I select the comma one there, you'll see the information preview, if you like, has changed, so it's put it into columns and stuff. So that should be all you need to do with that. So you can just press finish at this point, press OK, and there you go, it's imported the data. So what I want to do now is just tidy it up a little bit in terms of, just looks a bit weird at the top here with these bits in. So I'm going to cut those, I'm going to pop those down the bottom here, and I'm going to do the same with that month one as well, pop that there. Okay, and I'm going to delete those top 2 lines, because as I say, I want it to look a little bit tidier than it is doing. And there, as you can see now, it's looking a bit more like a proper table with some little targets at the bottom. So what's the first thing it wants us to do? So we need to add some data in. So we've got this little bit of data here from the question paper that we need to add in. So if we put in Jade, 27th of the 7th, 2010, who sold some Henley jeans. She bought them at £14.50, sold them at £27.76, and she's got a feedback score of 0.9885. Okay, so we've added that bit of data in, pretty much exactly as it is there. We'll come back in a minute in terms of putting those pound signs on there, and because as you can see, it needs it for the whole column, and again that's going to be percentages rather than 0.9, so that will be 98.85% by the time we've done it. So we'll come back to that in a second. Okay, so it wants us to make sure the data is clear and formatted appropriately. So we'll do all that now then. So making sure that these have got the pound signs on and everything. I think the first thing I'm going to do though is I'm going to put it into a table. So if you just left click in the A1 cell, drag it all down to H20, you'll highlight the whole lot and you can put it into a table. So if we go click on the Home tab, click on Format as Table, we'll just choose the blue colour. I think I always prefer the blue colour. Okay, so that's now put it into a table. What I would say is, as you can see here in these couple of cells, some of the words are missed off. So if we select the whole spreadsheet, so just click in this little, there's like a little triangle in between A and 1. I'll select the whole spreadsheet and then double click on the line at the end of A. What that's done is just automatically set the cell widths so that they're in line with the information that's in there, so you can see everything. Okay, so what we need to do now then is to change these 3 columns to be displayed as pounds. So if you highlight everything there, so drag from F2 down to D20 to select them all, right click, format cells. See there's currency in this table, so we need that one. It's already got pound signs and we want decimal places. We want to include the pence in it. So there you go. As you can see, there's nothing in these boxes at the minute for column F, but once we start typing it in, it will put the pound signs in for us. And now we need to do the same for columns G and H, and also that little cell there at the bottom, that one as well, and turn those into percentages. So we'll just highlight columns G and H, the information that's in there for now. And we'll go format cells, so right click, format cells, click on percentages, and we'll want the 2 decimal places. Press OK, and that's now changed those. Again, G will come up once we've done what we need to do. Just do the same for these other couple of cells there at the bottom, the targets. Okay, so they've got a target of making 100% profit and a target of making 99.5% on their feedback scores. Right, so what does it want us to do next? So it wants us to use a formula or function that returns the words qualify seller of the month if both the target profit percentage and the feedback percentage are met. So and then do not qualify if they've not met those targets. However, we need to make sure we've got the information for those targets, certainly for the profit and loss. So you'll see at the bottom here of the page it says, so the profit and loss is your price sold minus your price bought. So we'll do that first. That's going to be column F. So that's going to be using the sum formula. Now I always encourage you to use this FX button. I always say there's no need to remember how to type out something in terms of typing out a formula. Just use the FX insert function button and it basically just does it all for you. So clicked on that, this window will come up and there's a sum formula there which you select. So it's the price sold minus your price bought. So in this instance for this row 2, it's going to be E2 minus the price bought, which is D2. Okay. Press OK. Because it's in the table already, it's just automatically done the results for us. So that's a nice little bonus there. That's done everything for us. So as you'll see, for this one, Julie's actually not made any money. She actually made a loss of £1.40. Werner on the Pandora bracelet, she's made a bit of money, £11.79, and so on and so on. So next bit we need to do is this profit percentage. So again, it will tell you at the bottom of the paper, so the profit percentage is your profit and loss divided by the price bought. So what we've just worked out divided by your price bought. So again, if we click in that cell, G2, we'll find out what the profit percentage is for Julie and their next shoes. We already know it's going to be a loss. So if we go on the insert function again, so the FX button, the middle there, it's going to be a sum again, but this time rather than minusing, we're going to be dividing. So divide is a forward slash on the keyboard. Obviously, there's no standard divide sign on a keyboard, so we have to use the forward slash button. So we're going to be doing F2 divided by D2 and press OK. And as you can see, again, it's already done it. So we know that Julie's made a loss of 4.12% profit. Okay, so it's quite good really with the exams, because it does tell you how to do the actual maths for these things. So if you're not very good at maths, it tells you how to do it, so that's good. You've just got to know what the symbols are and how to do the formulas and what have you. So divide is forward slash, minus is minus, plus is plus, and multiply is the star button, star symbol, the asterisk. Anyway, we've got all the information we need, so now we need to put this if and and formula in, which will then give us the results that we want. So use a formula or function that returns the words qualify seller of the month if both the target profit and the target feedback are met. So if, so you know there's going to be an if there, and in that sentence. So there's always a bit of a clue as to which formula you need for those. So if it's an if, you need if, and if it's got and in it, you need to add more information to the if, basically, if that makes sense. So again, I would say you don't have to memorize the whole if and formula as such. You'll need to know how to manually add in the and, but it's quite straightforward. But I certainly wouldn't expect you to remember the whole lot. You'll see why by the time we've actually done it. It's very complicated. If you were going to try and memorize the whole lot, it would just add too much pressure on. So as always, I would say use the FX insert function button to do one of the if statements. So we'll start off with just doing the if for target profit percentage, and then we'll add the and target feedback a bit later on. But we'll start off with the if for the target profit first. So I think just as a heading for that column, we'll just put seller of the month with a question mark. And as you can see, it's put it into the table for us. So click on the FX button. This time I'm going to use if. So if you double click on the if there, and you'll see we can now put in the main if formula. So if what does it want us to do? It wants us to have the target profit met. So target profit down the bottom there, 100%, which is in cell F22. So if we do if profit percentage, so G2 is more than or equal to, so if it's higher than the target or it's met the target, which is in F22. That's what that's saying. So if G2 is more than or equal to F22, which is the target percentage, value if true is qualify seller of the month, and if they've not met it, then does not qualify. Okay. I press OK, and now what it's done automatically at this point is kind of putting some predicted outcomes from what it's doing. But there's a little thing here called absolute cell references that we need to do. So you'll see here F22, which is that cell. That's what it's taken into account. But because I'm not using an absolute cell reference, each time we move down and it's shifting all the cell references down one row, you'll see that the F is now F25, which is blank. F26. So what we need to do is to try and lock that F22 in place, which is where we need an absolute cell reference. So we can just click into there. I mean, you could have done it originally on this bit. We'll do it on here. You have to put a dollar sign in front of the F and a dollar sign in front of the 22. So that's saying it's always going to be using the F as the reference there, and always you're going to use the 22 as the reference there as well. So that's locked F and 22 in place. So if we press OK again, you'll see it's changed everything. And if we sort of scroll down each row, you'll see G4 is moving each time as we move down. So it's moving down rows of these. But F22 is always staying the same. So that's always locked in place now. Always going to use that target. Okay. So at the minute, we've only done it so that it's taken into account the profit target. As you can see, Tom has got 101%, so he's qualified. Kareem has got 120, and David has got 1,340% as a profit target. So they've all qualified. However, we now need to use the AND formula to take into account the feedback target. So as you can see by the formula, this is why I'm saying I wouldn't expect you to memorize the whole lot and type it out. As you can see, it looks quite complicated, especially with the absolute cell references in there as well. It's all very complicated. So to then add the AND in as well and memorize a whole lot, I wouldn't do that. Just do what I've done here. So just use your function button to do your first if, and then you will have to manually add in the AND, unfortunately. So what we need to do is to basically just add this in manually. So where there's the brackets, that's basically everything that's everything in between those brackets is going to be sorted out by the if formula. What we need to do is add AND. So after that first bracket, type in AND and put in another bracket. So now what we're saying is within the if, we're going to be using an AND formula. And basically all that's doing is just giving us the opportunity to add another argument or a logical test, if you like. So the first logical test was, is G2 higher than or equal to F22? We now need to do pretty much exactly the same, but for the feedback percentage. So if H2 in this instance is greater than or equal to, we'll need the absolute cell references again, but it's going to be H22. So $sign H $sign 22. Then we need to close the bracket off. So that's going to close that and just press a comma, and it should work. It should work now. So if we press enter, there you go. So yeah, it's worked. And as you can see, out of the whole lot, there's only one person that's qualified, which is Tom, for the seller of the month. Now, you can double check this to see if it's worked by just filtering it. So if you look at your everything that's above, went on the wrong one there. Everything that's above or meeting 100%. So there's only 3 that we'd identified earlier. And this time, if you look, there's only one that's above the target of 99.5. Rebecca's just missed out by 0.05%. So yeah, there is only Tom. So we know it works. We know it's working all fine. But if you actually look at the formula, just look how complicated it is now. So that's why I wouldn't recommend trying to remember it all. Just do the vast majority of it for the initial if using the function button, and then the and on its own is fairly straightforward because all you're doing is typing in the and, putting a bracket, putting another argument in, which is pretty much the same as the first one you've already done. So you can just kind of copy that from what's there, close the bracket off, and put a comma in. That's all you have to do with it. So all we've added in is that bit, that little bit there, and that's it for that. So the next part then of this particular task is it wants you to create a chart that shows the top 6 sellers who have made the highest profit percentage. It should show the price bought, the price sold, and the profit and loss in pounds for those 6 people. So we need column D, column E, and column F all shown in a graph. Okay, so we need it for the top 6 people with the profit percentage. So you can rearrange the table to make it highest to lowest. So if you click on the filter for G, column G, just put largest to smallest. So it's put them all in order now for the highest percentages. So now we need to select the data that we need for the graph. So if you click on A1, drag down to first 6 people, should finish on Kareem. Now we need to add in the rest of the data that we need. So if you hold the control button down and then click and drag from price bought down to Kareem, let go of your mouse button but still keep your control button down, and then click into price sold, drag down to Kareem, let go of your mouse button, keep your control button down, and do the same again for column F. So now you've selected all the relevant data that we need for the chart, and at this point a little shortcut, you can press F11. If it wants it to be on the same sheet, you can go on insert, and you'll see here there's different types of charts that you need. You just need column. But in this instance, I'm going to put it on a new tab, and it's a nice, quick, easy way of doing it by just pressing F11. And as you can see, it's put it into a chart for us. So we've created the graph. As you can see, it's got the price bought, price sold, and the profit. It's all nicely labeled for us. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to actually change the chart because I want to add the table in underneath just so it shows the data a bit better. So you'll see up here it's got chart layouts. There's one here. It looks like it's got a little table at the bottom underneath it. Not that one. Move it down. It's this one, layout 5. That's what I want. But as you can see, it's now added the data in for us as well, so you can see exactly what the prices are that they've paid, etc. We just need to change the titles. So I think for this axis we'll have it as price with a pound sign, and at the top you need to give the chart a name basically. So a chart to show the top 6 sellers. Information. Okay, and that is everything for this task. So as I say, I'm going to do another video which is just going to be purely on the little if and and thing, so it's only going to be a little 5-10 minute video, 5 minutes, whereas this one's a full walkthrough. So hope you've found this useful. If you do want to just practice on the if and the and bits, check out the other video. And that's it for today. So thank you very much. Hope you found it useful. See you again soon, and good luck with your exam.